that has bit us the most has been rebounding. And so that continues to be an emphasis. He's a good rebounder. He gets his fair share of rebounds. We got to have 20 to 25 from our perimeter guys, and then we have to have our 4s and 5s having big nights as well. But it's been a tough stretch. We got to fight our way out of it. It's simple as that.
Speaking about Luka, he's 20, and 32 minutes a game is not exorbitant, but do you consider at some point ratcheting back a little bit on his minutes?
Yeah, I'd say everything's in play at this point. But we need guys going as hard as they can go. And look, our goal is to win games. And so he's obviously very important to that. Again, a big part of this last segment of the season is him getting a real taste for what it means to have to carry a certain load. In his case, he's got to carry a substantial load defensively, offensively, and with rebounding. And everyone has a responsibility to take care of the ball too. He's done better in recent games. So I guess the answer to your question is no, not necessarily.
How have you seen James Harden kind of change the way the NBA game is played, or how you have to defend a player like that since he kind of burst onto the scene?
Well, it's a pretty remarkable phenomenon. I don't know if there's ever been anything quite like this. They're extremely effective. He's extremely effective. And it's bringing new metrics into play and things like that. So there's a lot of people studying it, looking at it, and the guy's having another phenomenal year. I guess I'd sum it up by saying that. And after a tough start at the beginning of the year, they've been rolling and been dominant. And so, slowing them down is a big challenge. But hey, it's an opportunity every time you play teams like this to get out there and go hard, and that's what we're going to do.
Coach, can you talk about how important Shamgar's been to your coaching staff over the past 3 seasons, and why more coaches in your position across the league haven't added someone of his caliber to their coaching staff full time?
There's only one Sham guy, baby, and we got him.
Rick, Luka's been compared to Harden a lot, the acceleration ability, the step back, vision, physicality. Do you see the way that Harden plays as a style that Luka could or should replicate as he develops?
Luka has some great individual abilities, and I like the step back shot for him. If it's aggressive, decisive, and on balance, he's one of the few guys that really executes it at a high level and with consistency. But our style of play is going to be dictated by how our team is built, who the other guys are that he's playing with, et cetera, et cetera. So having some of Harden's abilities is a great quality. To the extent to which we'll play that way. We're not doing much of it this year. In the quarters, you see him isolated with the ball significantly. But going forward, I think it's important that our team has the right balance based on our roster. And we don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but with Porzingis in the mix next year, I don't see Luka having the ball as much as Harden does in those types of situations. I just don't think we'll be built the same way.
Rick, a minute ago, you mentioned that a lot of the rest of the year is going to be about him dealing with the aspects of handling a heavy load, and you've brought that up before. This is not the first time that you mentioned that. Perhaps it's a bit early to ask you to evaluate it, but so far, how does he seem to be holding up to that challenge? Is he embracing the challenge? Is he finding out it's harder than he expected it to be? Is there any light that you can shed on that?
Well, it's a big test. And, you know, we've gone through a period now where we've struggled to win games. We've had some bad losses. And this is a situation where everybody has to pick it up, you know, not just him. But he's used to winning. He doesn't like to lose. And, you know, this is, again, it's an important period. And how he feels about it is something you would have to ask him. I don't think it's right for me to make any assumptions. But this is a very difficult stretch of games, and doesn't get any easier tonight. But these types of situations, schedule-wise, et cetera, how we're structured right now, it presents, you know, an opportunity for everybody to step up, and that's what we got to continue to do and continue to preach. Step up within your abilities, and step up, you know, to help the guy next to you and help your teammates. And that's how we're going to dig out of this hole and get and be able to get some wins here.
Will it cost us or the two league players the opportunity to do any playing in the next few games?
Will what?
Cost us or any
Cost us?
players?
Possibly, but I don't believe he's going to be active tonight. We'll have 13 other guys. He's been getting a lot of NBA days in. He traveled with us on the trip. That's something that will be determined on a more of a day-to-day basis.
Rick, are you able to kind of soak in everything that comes with Dirk approaching this milestone of passing Wilt, or is that something that just when it happens, you kind of embrace that moment when it happens, or does the lead up also, you know, are you able to kind of join into the anticipation of that?
You know, I'm aware of it, but I don't like talking about it because we just got to keep going. And then once we get there, you know, I'll be happy to answer whatever questions. But we got to treat the whole thing with the right kind of respect. And you know, I just think staying in the moment, staying in the process is really a key thing.
Coach, you remember what was going on in your mind the last time the Rockets were here and Luka had that 11-0 Luka run? What you're thinking about what was happening on the floor and your perception of him and what he was doing early in the season?
Well, that was, you know, a moment where, you know, he really stepped forward and took control of that situation, and you know, and had an amazing 2-minute run or whatever it was. Do I remember what I was thinking? Not exactly, you know. It was probably, you know, this is great. How are we going to keep them from getting any more baskets? I mean, we were down 9 or 8 or something, 8 or 9, you know, with a minute and a half or 2 minutes to go. And, you know, with Houston, they got so much firepower. That's probably was the line of thinking. But that was a great run, obviously.
You mentioned earlier that there's different metrics now being used to look at what James has been doing. What are some that you might point to as being particularly useful that you would cite as an example of that?
Well, one that I've heard this year is that there's now there's a statistic on step back shots, you know, which I had never heard until this year. So that certainly was that's a Harden generated stat, and I'm sure there's others. You know, you know, the other one was unassisted baskets. You know, I mean, you know, that was. I mean, that was unbelievable. You know, but you know, we played them twice early, then it was a while before we played them the third time, and then, so, yeah, I don't know, but he's not playing that much differently than last year in a certain way, but he's just brought the magnitude of it up, and I'm sure there's other stats that I'm missing, but the step backs and then the unassisted baskets thing is, are two that I had not heard until this year.
And with Luka, the step backs are such a part of his game. Do you guys actually, I mean, is it a number that's just kind of interesting, or is it useful for you to look at how he's done or where he's getting his shots?
Everything's useful to some, on some level, So, yeah. We had that question before he came in, I think.
I went down the hall to get.
Yeah, no, I understand. And that's why I want to give you an answer. Yeah, it's it's just thinking back 5 years ago that at that time to think back at that time that this would ever come about, that you would have some of these stats is pretty amazing, and it just, to me, it speaks to the fact that there's a lot of other places the game can go that are very interesting. So stay tuned.